Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am Mr. Kadim Khan and I am a lecturer in the Institute of Computing, Quart University of Science and Technology. Today we will take lecture number 15 of the subject of software engineering, in which we will discuss the extreme programming. This is the discussion agenda. It contains the topics of extreme programming, the values of extreme programming, communication, simplicity, feedback, courage and respect. Then we have the extreme programming process, and then we have the diagrammatical representation of the extreme programming process, and at the end we have XP applicability. Extreme programming basically is denoted with the XP is most widely used approach to agile software development. So XP programming using the agile technology or agile software development methodologies to develop the software. By agile software development means that the software is developed very quickly. Here, the implementation is performed by two programmers simultaneously. That means that at one time, two programmers perform the coding or programming of the project. One programmer does the programming while the another programmer just reviews the code of the other programmer. So that means that at same times reviewing is also possible in the agile software development. So by this way, in fact, we can perform speedy development or fast development because it eliminates the burden of lot of software testing. Although early works on the ideas and methods associated with the XP occurring during the late 1980s, the seminal works on the subject has been written by Kent Beck in 1999. Basically, the XP process model was first suggested in 1980s, but Kent Beck has modified the current XP, and in 1999, Kent Beck has provided another version of the extreme programming. And recently, a variant of the XP is called Industrial XP IXP has been proposed. So nowadays, the Industrial IXP is also used. But make sure that the Industrial XP is not used for the other products, it is only used for the software development products. XP refines XP and targets the agile process specifically for the use within the larger organization. Basically, we refine the XP process, and also we utilize the agile process models so that the XP model can be used for the large organizations for large software development. The XP model has importantly some values. So BIG defines a set of 5 values that establishes a foundation for all work performed as a part of the XP. So XP in fact uses 5 different values for the software development. The first one is called communication, then we have the simplicity, then we have feedback, courage and respect. So each of these values is used as a driver for the specific XP activities, actions and tasks. So XP model utilizes all these 5 values to develop the software. So all the phases in XP model passes through these 5 values. Now we explain each one in detail. Number 1, communication. Communication, already you know, it is a medium which is used by different parties to communicate with each other. So in fact, effective communication between the software engineers and other stakeholders, for example, to establish required feature and function for a software. So basically, effective communication is required between different stakeholders for the software development so that important information can be exchanged. XP emphasizes close yet informal verbal collaboration between customers and developers and establishment of effective metaphors for the communication of important concepts. Basically, the important concepts such as, for example, information about the requirement analysis, similarly for the designing, for the implementation and for the testing, all these information must be exchanged with each other. For this purpose, good communication media should be used. So it should be continuous feedback and the evidence of the voluminous documents as a communication medium. So that means that we should use the electronic medium for the communication. We should not utilize a lot of the paperwork, that is the voluminous documentations, because reading and specific writing for such a documentation takes a lot of time, so that's why it's better to communicate through the voice communication using certain media. So that's why communication is very much effective in the XP model. So basically communication is has a lot of focus for us, and it is very much important. The second one is the simplicity. Simplicity means to make certain things very much simple so that everyone should understand the particular task. To achieve simplicity, XP restricts developers to designs only for the immediate needs rather than consider future needs. So we should, in fact, provide the immediate needs of the for the projects. We should not ask for the future needs. So intend to create a simple design that can be easily implemented in code. So here we in fact provide a very much simple designing which can be easily converted into code. So the simplicity here means simplicity into our task, and we should not use much technical words here, and should also not use all those words which requires the dictionary meaning. So if the design must be improved, it can be refactored as a later time. So we must focus on the each and every activities, and the simplicity or abstractness should be followed so that it can be used later in another terms as well. The third one is the feedback. Feedback means that we in fact ask from the our stakeholders about their uh, different opinion. So the feedback is in fact derived from three different sources. In fact, we take the feedback from three different sources. The implemented software itself. The implemented software itself means that the product that we have already developed. So we will take feedback from the products, that whether the product is according to the quality or not. And the customer who want to buy the product or who will use the product. So we can also take feedback from the customer and from the other software team members in the organization. So here we will also ask from other team members who are working with us and who are our important stakeholders. We also ask for the feedback from them. So by designing and implementing an effective design strategy, the software where test results provide the agile team with feedback. Basically, the feedback is obtained through other team members. These are the other people that are working with us on the project. We ask from them about the quality of the project. If there is some improvements, then we will improve the project. So XP make use of the unit test as a primary testing tactics. Basically, in the XP model, the unit testing is performed because all the software is developed into multiple units, and the units are isolatedly tested. Because by this we can also perform the refactoring, because the XP works on the refactoring. So that's why we divide the module into the project into multiple modules, and then we develop each and every modules isolatedly. As each class is developed, the team develops a unit test to exercise each according to its specific functionalities. So when we achieve a particular functionality, we develop each one as a unit. Each functionality is called a unit. So as an increment is delivered to the customer, the user stories or use cases that are implemented by the increments are used as a basis for acceptance test. So all the use cases that is provided in the SRS, these are act as a acceptance test, because the use cases contains the important functionality that should be provided by the product. The degree to which the software implements the output, function, and the behavior of the use case is of the form of the feedback. So all the output, functionality, and the behavior of the product in the use case diagram is in fact the form of the feedback for us. Finally, the new requirements are derived as a part of the iterative planning, and the test that provides the customers with rapid feedbacks regarding cost and schedule that should be implemented. So we provide requirements that are derived as a iterative planning, and from that planning, the customers provides us rapid feedbacks regarding the cost and schedule of the project. Next one is the courage. Courage is very much important activity. So big urge that strict adherence to a certain XP practice demands the courage. So there should be the courage for everyone, and the courage is also called the discipline. So a better word might be the discipline for the courage. So the process should be well disciplined here and well organized. For example, there is often significant pressure to design for the future requirements. So most software teams come arguing that designing for the tomorrow will save the time and effort in a long run. So we should in fact also look for the future development. The XP help us that we should also uh, make schedule for the future development as well. So by this way, we can save the times and efforts for the long run projects. So the agile XP team must have the discipline, the courage to design for the today, recognizing that future requirement may change dramatically, thereby demanding substantial rewards for the design and implementation of the code. So in fact, we should also work for the future, but we have to focus on today here. The XP model mostly focus on today's work. So if the future problems, if there are certain requirement change, then that should also be coped. Number five is the respect. By following each of these values, the agile team indicates respect among its members. So there should be the respect among the members between other stakeholders and the team members and indirectly for the software itself. So basically, the respect is very much important. We should ask from each and every person about the product, and we should respect their opinion about the product. So other stakeholders and team members and indirectly for the software itself, we should ask from everyone. No matter what their opinion is, we should ask from them about their successful opinion about the project. As they achieve successful delivery of the software increments, the team developers grows respect for the agile process. So with respect to time, if the team members provides us good respect and good opinion about the project, so then we are going in a good progress fashion. Now the XP process. Extreme programming in fact uses an object-oriented approach. This is the first term we use in the software processes. In object-oriented, we have the classes and objects, and the classes and objects communicate with each other, and every class contains the data members and member function approach. So in object-oriented approach, it is as its preferred development paradigm and encompasses a set of rules and practices that occur within the context of four frameworks activities, that is planning, designing, coding, and testing. So object-oriented approach is applied on the planning, designing, coding, and testing approach. So all these four approaches are conducted one after the other using the object-oriented approach. Now this is the XP process model diagrammatical representation. We first have the planning phase. Here we define the user stories, values, acceptance, test criteria, iteration plans. Then we have the designing. In the designing, simply we design the CRC card. CRC card is class responsibility collaboration card. Basically, this is the card which is used, which defines the system functionalities. Then we have spike solution prototypes. Here we will provide operational prototypes to the customers, but the prototype can be like a simulation or the benchmark or a model. Then we have the coding. Coding means that here we will perform the pair programming or the coding here. So here we will do the coding. So basically the programmer is in fact a person who perform the coding using the pair programming. The pair programming, as its name indicates, one pair of two people work on the projects for a particular unit. There may be many pair programmers. So one programmer in fact here perform the coding and another programmer monitors or review the coding. If there is some problem, then the other programmer fixes the bugs. Then we have the testing. Here we will perform the unit testing or the continuous integration testing or the acceptance testing. Here we will perform the testing. And then we have the release, where we will release the software increments, project velocity computed. Here we will release the projects here to the customer. The project will be provided to the customers and the acceptance test will be performed. Now, XP applicability. Its general characteristics where XP is appropriate were described by the Donwells. So dynamically changing software requirements, then we will use the XP model. If a lot of the requirements are changed, then XP model is very much suitable. Risk caused by fixed time project using new technology. So risk caused by fixed time projects means that if there are a lot of risks occurring in our project, then we should use the new technology. So XP model is better here because XP model utilizes the object-oriented paradigm, so which is in fact a new technology, and object-oriented paradigm is in fact supported by the Java and C Sharp. So that's why failure of the project is in fact there is have no chances for the failure of the project. Similar small co-located extended development teams, we can use the XP model. If there are small and co-located means located in one organization, but the team is extended, means that the team is have a lot of skills and the development team is very much professional. So then XP model is better. The technology you are using allows for automated unit and functional testing. If you have the automated testing and function-oriented testing, then XP model is better because XP model utilizes object-oriented approach in which one class is called a unit. So that's why, and here we can perform the good automated unit testing. And also in every class we have some functionality. So that's why testing each and every functionality, we perform the functional test. Now XP practices, where we can use the XP model. Basically, the planning game, we can use the XP model. Similarly, small releases, we can use the XP model. Similarly, for the metaphors here means for the designing the best GUI or beautiful GUI, then we can use the XP model. Simple designs, if we want to keep the design very much simple, then we will use the XP model. And testing, if you want to test the software for exhaustive testing, then the XP model is very much suitable. Then we have refactoring. Refactoring means that if you want to factor the project and we want to divide the project into multiple units, then we will use the XP model. And then we have the pair programming. Pair programming means that we will perform. So in pair programming, two programmers simultaneously works on the project in one place. So one programmer perform the coding while the another one perform the review of the coding. This saves the lot of time for testing. For example, simultaneously one experienced programmer perform the review of the coding, so that's the good quality products can be developed. Collective ownership. Collective ownership means that the customer has a complete ownership about the project and they are collectively called the customers. So if they want to develop a project for their own self, so that is possible in the XP practices. Continuous integration. Continuous integration means that the software is continually integrated with each other and the components that we are going to develop, they are integrated in the form of top-down or bottom-up fashion. So XP model has a good integration mechanism, so that's why continuous integration is possible in the XP model. 40 hours week. If the programmers are utilized in 40 hours weeks and for the efficient development, then XP practices is best. 40 hours weeks means that maximum times in the week for the development. On-site customer. On-site customer means if the customer is located near to the development organization, so then the XP model is best because here we need a lot of communication, a lot of feedback from the customer. And the third one is the coding standard. If we use the high coding standard, then XP model is the best. Basically, IEEE, CMMI, ISO standards are used for the coding standards. So XP model utilizes the best coding standards. Dear student, this is the end of the today's lecture. If you have any question, you can drop an email at my ID. My ID is m.kadeem@kust.edu.pk. And if you want to read more material about these topics, so there are the references of the books, but these slides are very much sufficient and it contains a lot of material. So you can use these books for the further reading. Thank you very much.